It seems like I'm online. It's saying that I'm online, but it's saying waiting for broadcast to be published. I'm live. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is how to do the Market Indices Lab on SPSS. So the first thing you need to do is open the file. So we go to File, Open, Data. Now, it's looking for data. See, you can see this file from previous labs because it is in SPSS format, but our file that we downloaded is in CSV format. So you have to choose that. And then if you had put it in your stats folder, it would be visible here. In my haste to put this video together, left it in my downloads directory. So here's the one that I downloaded today. You see I may have done this lab a few times. So I open that one. And here is the CSV opening wizard trying to pull itself together. So there's a text file, here's a preview of it, and so we're going to give it instructions on how to read the information in this file. So next, my variables are delimited. They're delimited by commas, so I want that button picked. Yes, my variable names are included in the top of the file. The first line contains that file. My decimal symbol is a period, because I'm in America. So and here's a preview. This is also looking good. So we hit next. First line of data, again, begins on line 2. This is usually everything is correct, so we're going to go next. Now this one, comma and space, we do not want spaces to appear between variables. We get rid of that. Now adjusted closes together, scroll right here, and then no text qualifier, everything looks good there so far. So, invariant variable names, yes. Adjusted close, see they got rid of the space. So this one, we're not going to do automatic. We know what format it is. It's 4 year digits, then a dash, then 2 month digits, then a dash, then 2 day digits. So we're going to say it's a date and time. We're going to scroll down until we see year, month, day. And that one, even though it's not dash, it'll figure it out. The rest of them it's going to figure out fine. So we hit next. No, finish. All right, so here is my data. I scroll down and I should have several hundred rows of data. Several thousand. Good times. Okay, so the date of the observation, the opening price for the index, the high price for the index that day, the low price for the index today, the closing price for the index today, the adjusted close, which is almost always the same as close. I'm not sure really exactly how that adjustment happens. Some of you finance types know it better. And here's the trading volume. So we're going to be interested in using date and volume for our 2 variables. So the first thing we need to do is convert these dates. No, forgive me. The first thing we do is we save. Let's save this document. And I'm not going to save it in my downloads. I'm going to save it in my stats folder. So that's documents, statistics. And then of course, I've done statistics for more semesters than you have. I just can't seem to finish the class. So then we'll put it in data. So there we go. And we will call this Market Indices. Glorious. So we save that sucker. Now that this is saved, the next step is to compute a new variable that takes this date and turns it into a weekday. So we go transform compute variable. And we're going to call that variable weekday. And we are going to make it we'll leave that there. We're going to use a date and time function, date extraction, there we go. And we're going to find extract from the date the weekday. So there's groups of functions, the specific functions in that group, and then verbose description of what we want to do. In this case, we want this one. So X date weekday, and then this is a question mark, that's the argument. So if you double click that, it says X date weekday. This will convert the date to a day of the week. That's all you got to do. So hit OK. There's the output window. If we go to the window menu, you can see that market indices over here. And now we have weekdays. Sweet. So we go down to variable view, and we can change weekday. So it's going to be the numbers 1 through 7, so we don't need any decimals. So we'll call that 0. The width is only going to be 1. You don't have to do those, but it's worthwhile. And then for values, 1 is Sunday. 2 is Monday. 3 is Tuesday. 4 is Wednesday. 5 is Thursday. There should be a Cure song about this. Thursday. 6 is Friday. And 7 is Saturday. Feel free to label them with whatever language you want to. All right, so we hit OK. So there's our values, just like we did. Glorious. All right, so weekday's done. We just did a bunch of editing, so we save. The next thing I want you to do is, so we'll go back to the data view here. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to convert this volume variable from the raw number of shares to the logarithm to the 10th, the base 10. We're going to take the logarithm of it. So we go transform, compute variable. This time we're going to call it log volume. No spaces here. Can't handle spaces, but we can give it a label that can have spaces. We can say log of volume. Logarithm of volume, good times. So labels are okay to have spaces. Variable names are not. And then we delete this one. And the function we want is an arithmetic. It's this log 10 one. And we're going to take the log 10 of volume. And again, we are done. It's okay. There may be some errors. Scroll down. Okay, I did not have any errors. So that's great. If you're using the NASDAQ, some of the days don't have volume data, and so they might have zeros and give you an error, but you'll be fine. So again, we go back to window, market indices. So now we say, see how this 4 billion has gone to 10 to the 9.61, which is a little easier to see, and graph. So I'm going to save. Now, the next thing I asked you to do is make a graph of volume and the graph of log volume relative to date. So let's take a look at, is that what I asked you to do? What did the instructions say to do? Market indices, scatter, date, and volume. Yeah, it's like I wrote this myself or something. So, graph, chart builder. So we have scatter, drag the one here with no colors. Date goes in the x-axis, volume goes in the y-axis. We want the statistic to be value. That's done. And then while it's working that out, we can do it again. And we will drag volume out, put logarithm volume in, and hit OK. So there are our values. So logarithm volume, no, that's the regular volume. See how it's in, runs from 2 billion to 12 billion. And then down here, it goes from 2 billion to 12 billion. So since this is all roughly the same order of magnitude, it's in the billions, these don't actually look very different. So if I were writing that, I might mention that. I might say something about how in this one, which is no logs, the things that stick out the most from the overall trend are above, and the things that stick out below are kind of squeezed in. Whereas down here, it's the opposite. These are sort of squeezed in above, and these are stretched out below, and that's how logarithms work. But you see how it's just sort of more of a line, like the beginning and the end are a little bit more comparable with a logarithm than with this one. These are going to, if we used the untransformed one to do our analysis, these days here where there's very large variations would drive a lot of the change. So we're going to use the logarithms for our analysis. So we're ready for our analysis. So we go to Analyze, compare means, whoops, analyze, compare means, one-way ANOVA. And our dependent list, the y-axis, is going to be the logarithm of volume that we created. And weekday is going to be our factor. So we're going to look and see if the average values of this variable are different for the different days of the week. Post hoc, we're going to pick the Tukey test. That's Tukey, not Turkey. Tukey. We're not picking Tukey's B, we're just picking regular Tukey. It's going to compare each different possible combination of weekdays. And for options, we want descriptives. Those are going to give us the means and standard errors and stuff like that within each group. So we hit continue. And we hit OK. So let's take a look here. So our means are 9.5, 9.58, 58, 59, 58, 57. So Monday looks a little low, Friday a little low, and the middle of the week is higher, which doesn't really surprise you, right? You might be not back from the Hamptons on Monday. You'll be skipping out early to go for your martini lunch on Friday, and so there's going to be less variation on those. And in fact, our p-value says that's significant. So we say F4, 2511 equals 9.054, P is less than 0.001. Remember, SIG stands for significance, and that's what SPSS calls the p-value. So then here's our post hoc tests. We ignore the multiple comparisons. We go right down to here, and this says which days of the week are significantly different from each other. So what we're seeing here is there's this one group with Monday in it, so that's the same mean we saw before, and this other group with the other 4 days of the week over here. So our test is significant because Monday has a lower trading volume than the other days put together, and that's what's driving our significance. So let's look at a picture of that. So graph chart builder. We're going to get a bar chart this time and drag it up there. And we don't want date. That would be way too many bars. We want weekday. We want log volume. Ooh, that's no good. We're going to reset. That looks ugly. Try again. Bar. Weekday. Much better. Logarithm of volume. Notice that these are just cartoons. This is not actually what we're going to see. But it does give us the data labels that we're going to see. We do want the mean over here. We want error bars. We want those error bars to be standard errors because that's how I always want in this class. And 2 standard errors means 1 up and 1 down. So that's glorious. So this is what we want for this is basically how we're always going to do an ANOVA plot in this class. So you hit OK. And now we have all the things we need for our graph. Now, this doesn't look very impressive, right? So because we use logarithms, we don't necessarily have to include 0 in the graph. So we went, since as we saw up here, everything's sort of between 9 and 10, maybe we can change these ranges as well. So if we go down here, we double click on this, that will open up the chart editor. And then just like in Excel, when you double click on that, you can change the values. And so we're going to do scale. And our minimum is going to be 9. And our maximum will be 10. Perfect. And we'll leave those automatic. And we'll hit apply. And that looks a little bit better. Sure. We'll leave it at that. The pattern appears there. I like that. That's fine. You can see Monday's a little lower and the rest of them aren't so much lower. You could change it a little bit more if you really wanted to. You could change it to be, let's see if this works. Double check the axis. I keep missing the axis. Good thing I'm not a timer here. There we go. Scale. Let's do 9.5 and 9.6 just to really zoom in and see what happens. More than 300. Oh, 9.6. There we go. Yeah, okay. Let's use that. We're going to use this. This is a nice capturing of the pattern. So there we go. Monday's lower. The other ones are higher. Perfect. I love it. So you can close this. There's our chart. And that's all we need. So you're going to include these two graphs, talk a little about them. You're going to pull the data off of this F table. You're going to talk about how Mondays in one group and the other 4 days of the week are in their other group. Notice that these are sorted by the average, Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, not by the day of the week. And these are sorted by the day of the week because we put them in there. And there's no Sundays, there's no Saturdays. Oh, that's another thing we could change. Yes, let's redo that. So double click on this, double click on the x-axis, and we go to variables. Let's see, element type, our weekday. No, that's not right. Labels and ticks. Aha. Weekday excluded. Sunday, exclude that one. Saturday, exclude that one, and hit apply. Close. There we go. Because we don't have training on Mondays, and Sundays or Saturdays, so that's even better. Perfect. Glorious. Okay. I'm going to stop the video now.